For today's class, we're going to continue the effects of the Haitian Revolution. And I want you to remind me of some of the causes of the Haitian. In fact, what was the Haitian Revolution? What was the Haitian Revolution? You're going to an exam, or somebody wake you up and it's in the night and ask you this question: what is the Haitian Revolution? Or in order for your life to continue, the only question that you have to give the answer to this question. How would you answer it? In fact, let I give you a joke. There's something on Facebook where in South Africa, it's a husband and wife who went on a show to win some money. And they asked the man one simple question to win the money. And the question was, what is the date of his wedding anniversary? And the man did not remember his anniversary. So he didn't win the $5 million. Right? So this is your chance to win $5 million now. Not saying we're supporting gambling, but yeah, this is your chance to get 5 million. What is the Haitian Revolution? What is the Haitian Revolution, ladies? How would you define the Haitian Revolution in one word? Abigail Shaw? Abigail?
Yes, sir.
If someone asks you what is the Haitian Revolution, what would you say to them? Just one sentence.
Um, the Haiti's road to that independence.
Haiti's road to independence. Very good. Go ahead for me, Farquharson.
A political conflict that
Political conflict. Yes.
that led to slavery.
Repeat the last part.
That led to slavery.
Led to slavery.
Yes, yes. Well, a political conflict that led to slavery and then leading them to independence. They became the first country in the Caribbean to gain independence and end slavery.
To end slavery. All right, correct. End slavery and the first country to independence. Go ahead. Very good. Very good. Weber.
Hey, sir.
Hi,
So
how are
I would
you?
say the Haitian Revolution is a bunch of events that took place between 1791 and 1804 that led to Haiti's independence. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. That led to Haiti's independence. There are two main things that happen when it comes to the Haitian Revolution. It is a revolution that ended slavery and a revolution that led to independence. All right? So those are the two main things that came out of the revolution. So if somebody should wake you up in the night, Dunkley or Harris or Christian or Campbell, and they should say to you, what is the Haitian Revolution? I like the fact what Weber said. It is a series of events that took place between 1791 and 1804. And Farquharson said that it led to, it ended slavery, and also it led to the independence. In fact, Shaw mentioned that it was a political event, because politics is about how politics is about how colonies and countries are governed. And so this revolution that took place between 1791 and 1804, what it did was that it changed how the colony of Saint-Domingue was governed. In fact, the name of the colony was no longer Saint-Domingue. All right? So what we're going to do today, we're going to continue from last class to look at the effects of the Haitian Revolution. Now, what are some of the effects that you would think about? Think about someone invading Jamaica, or say, for instance, think about it like this. You are here in Jamaica, you're under bondage, and you decide that you're going to fight against the persons who have you under bondage, right? What would be some of the negative effects of that fight for your freedom?
The destruction of the country.
So the destruction of the country would be one, yes. How would the country be destructed? Destroy, I should say, sorry, destroy. How would the country be destroyed?
Sure, they probably use weapons and stuff that would cause fires, and they'll mash down doors and do stuff and burn lots of stuff.
Very good. Yes. Weber? Weber, your hand
Yes,
is?
sir. Oh, sir. It was up from before, but can I guess one?
Yes, you may.
Sir, was there separation? You know,
Separation between who?
sir, I don't really know between who.
Between who? Who was the colonial power over Saint-Domingue? The colony of Saint-Domingue?
I mean the French, sir.
The French. So so Haiti, as an effect of the revolution, is that it's going to be separated from the French. So you are correct, separation is it. But they must be separated from somebody, because two persons was together, two entities were together. The colony of Saint-Domingue and the French governed that colony. And so an effect of it is going to be separation. And that separation led to independence. All right, anyone else? Simmons?
Oh,
Simmons?
Yes, sir.
Think about it. What would happen? You're in right now in Jamaica, right? And think about it. There's a big riot that is taking place. Revolt. What are some of the things would happen?
People would die.
People, yes. So death would be one. What about people going to work? People would still be working.
No, sir.
People
yes.
would be working. Very good. Kira, you have something to say?
Oh, sir, I was going to say it would leave the country poor, because like for them to be able to rebuild back the country, it would take a lot of money, and also their other countries wouldn't want to trade with them anymore.
Yes. So some people would not support them and would not want to trade with them, and you are correct. All right. So we are now going to look at some of the, thank you very much, ladies. We're now going to look at some of the negative effects, because for every revolution or for everything that happened, there are positive effects and there are negative effects, right? Even if something good should happen to you in life, there are positive. Sometimes the positive outweighs the negative, but there's always positive and negative effects for every situation. The same thing for the Haitian Revolution. And so when we are writing about effects, in fact, when we are writing about causes and when we are writing about effects, we divide them into different categories, right? So we divide them into different categories. So we have social effects, political effects, and economic effects. When we talk about social effects, what are we talking about, Dunkley? Dunkley? Brown?
Sir, are we talking about people?
We are talking about how it affect people, but what do we really mean by social?
Sir, you
Sir,
mean like the classes?
Repeat.
Like the classes, so they have social classes, middle class and those stuff.
Yes, so very good. So when we talk about social, we're looking at things like health, we're looking at education. When we talk about social, we are looking at how people interact between each other, right? When we talk about social, we are looking at the death rate and birth rate. These are some of the things that we look at when we're talking about the social effects. We're looking at the population, the overall population, right? For anytime we're discussing things like social. When we're talking about political, what are we talking about? Richards, political. Richards,
Sir.
Humes, you want to go?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead for me, please.
Sir, when you talk about political, sir, kind of lead back to the social, sir. Because like in the party, there were like a lot of whites only, and like that was making decisions about the country, sir. So,
Yes.
so
With
because of the revolution, the black community kind of got involvement or got a representative in the politics, in the government.
And you said two very important things, Humes. One, you said about decision and government. All right, those are two very important points, decision and government. Go ahead for me, Dunkley.
Sir, they wanted to have rights, sir, and to not be under the French rule anymore.
Yes. So they don't want to be under French rule. So that is political. Why they didn't want to be under French rule? Link it back to Hume's point. Hume's make uh, two important words she mentioned. Decision.
Oh, sir, they didn't want to make their own decision and be their own like government.
Yes. They want to make their own decision in how their life operates or how the colony of Haiti operates, and they wanted their own government, right? So governance, how things happen would be political. When we talk about economic, what are we talking about? Don't your hand is up?
Sir, it was up from last time.
Okay. Friendly guests, they want to help us out. Economic.
Yes, sir.
So somebody said agriculture production. Very
Sir,
good.
having to do with the goods of the country and what they export and stuff.
Export. So people export, but you also do what?
Imports.
Import, so export and import, what is the main word for those two terms?
They're trading.
Trade. So economic, you look at things like export, import, production, trade. Very good. So distribution and consumption also is a part of economic, right? So remember, ladies, what we're looking at the negative effects of the Haitian Revolution. And so, as I mentioned before, that when you're looking at effects, just like causes, you look at the social effects, just like how you have social causes, political effects, just like how you have political causes, and economic effects, just like how you have economic causes, right? So let us look at some of the social effects, negative. In fact, because of the fighting between the enslaved people in the colony of Saint-Domingue and the whites, because they had several different whites fighting with them. They had the British that came to the British, the Spanish, French soldiers came, and persons, whites who were in the colony, quite a lot of whites that actually came to ensure that the enslaved Africans remained in slavery. And so one of the social effects is that the death. The death rate was very high, especially for blacks. So over 60,000 enslaved people, that's a lot of people, 60,000. Over 60,000 enslaved people died as a result of the revolt, a social effect. Not only blacks died or enslaved Africans died, but also whites. Whites also died in it. And so death was a negative effect of the Haitian Revolution. And so if people are dying in Haiti, then the population is going to decrease. And if the population decrease, what would happen? What are some of the negative effects of population decrease? If the population decrease, what would happen?
Sure, would they be like brain drain? Is that one of the effects?
Brain drain, yes, but think about it. The population decrease.
So the production can drop, like of the crops and stuff, it can drop because we need more workers.
Very good. So when the population decrease or your population is reduced, then your production is also going to reduce because you're not going to have enough workers to work in the different fields and the different things that they are producing. Now, what are some of the things that they would have produced in Haiti? Remind me, they would have produced, the main crop
Coffee
was
and
what?
sugar.
Sir,
Coffee
tobacco.
and sugar.
Coffee and sugarcane.
Sugar,
Sugar.
Coffee.
what else?
Coffee,
Coffee, then at the other C, what they used to make chocolate?
cocoa,
Cocoa.
Cocoa, yes, so sugar, coffee, cocoa. What else they would produce? They also produce lumber. They also produce cotton, right? A lot of different stuff they would have produced in the colony of Saint-Domingue. So a social effect, as I mentioned before, is death. A lot of persons died. The population is going to reduce. And then also, there's going to be increased conflict between the blacks and the coloreds. Negative effects, and we're going to come to the negative effects between the blacks and the colored, right? Remind me, who were the coloreds?
The mulattoes.
The mulatto, and what was their racial mixture?
Light skin.
White and black.
White and black. Very good. So those who are full black or fully African, they are going to, with no mixture with white, they are going to have conflict with the colored, right? So that's going to be a negative effect. Another effect is that, do you believe all the whites going to want to remain after the blacks take over Haiti?
No,
No,
sir,
sir.
because they will always want to be in power.
They want to be in power, and for them, they are saying, we do not want any black people to govern us. No, 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 we don't want any blacks to govern us. And so what is going to happen is that there's going to be a lot of migration of the whites to countries like Jamaica. All the whites who had control over Haiti, most of them, some went back to France, some went to Jamaica, some went to Cuba, some went to Trinidad, and some went to the Leeward Islands, places like Martinique and Guadeloupe. So not only we had a lot of death as a negative effect, but as a result of death, the population declined, and also there was a lot of conflict between the blacks and the whites the blacks and the colored who remained. Because the colored always felt that they were better than the blacks. And the whites who were actually there left Haiti because they could not live under the fact that the entire territory was in control of blacks. They didn't like that. They didn't like the fact that Dessalines was their new leader. And so these are some of the social effects of the Haitian Revolution. And so now we're going to look now at the political. And if you notice, social is linked to political, social is also linked to economic, and political is also linked to economic. Because I mentioned here that there's going to be increased conflict between the blacks and the colored. Following me? Are you following me, ladies?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Now, I'm going to, and so the first negative effect of the Haitian Revolution was that Haiti was split in half. So, Alexander Pétion and Henri Christophe, who they said Henri Christophe came from Grenada, heard about what was going on in Haiti, came to Haiti from Grenada on a little boat, and once Dessalines was killed, he took over from Dessalines as leader of Haiti. And so in 1807, Haiti was split. That was not long after they declared themselves independent. In which year they declared themselves independent from France?
1804.
1804. So 1804, 1805, 1806, 1807, in 3 years' time, Haiti was split between the colored because the colored didn't want the blacks to lead over them and the blacks didn't want the colored to lead over them. And so there was division within the new independent territory where Henri Christophe ruled the north and Alexander Petion, he would have ruled the south of Haiti. Now I'm going to show you a map of the division. And all right, let us show you the map and then we go to another political effect. Do you have a history WhatsApp group?
No, sir.
Do
Just
you have
about
a,
class group in general.
you just have one general class group.
Yes, sir.
All your teachers are part of it?
No,
Or
sir.
just a form teacher?
No teacher.
No teacher is a part of it?
No, sir.
Okay. I'm coming. The internet is running a little. Ladies, you are seeing my PowerPoint? When I'm moving my PowerPoint?
No, sir. It's still on the same thing, social, political, and economic.
Okay, that's where it is. That's where it's supposed to be. Good, good.
Sir, now so that you change it.
All right, I'm coming.
Sir, so we're all using Microsoft Teams now.
What's that?
Sir, I don't really know, but everyone is using it for school now.
I'm not sure. It's the first time. It's just the, I'm not
Sir,
sure.
sir, in my phone, I have a history group.
Oh, you have a history?
Yes, sir, we have a group, and if your
Yeah.
number is something like 887 or something, so you're in it.
All right. I'm going to send my number so you could add me, but we need
So
all
you're
the,
already in the group.
wait, the grade 9 group?
Yes, sir, you're already in there.
No, send me a message. Just put a message in the group because it seems as if I'm looking for a map for when Haiti was divided into 2 regions. All right. So I'll just use this here. So what happened, if we look at a map here, was that for Haiti, Haiti was split in 1807 between two regions. So the north of Haiti was controlled by the blacks, while the south was controlled by the colored, two different leaders, right? So that was a negative effect because it can't be that the blacks and the colored came together to get rid of the whites, and then they didn't really like each other, and it led to further division. It didn't make any sense, but that was a negative effect of it.
So the
Also,
South was controlled by
go,
the
go ahead.
the South was controlled by the colored.
The South was controlled by the colored. And in fact, for you to go to for anybody from the north to go to the south, or anybody need to leave from the south to the north, they had to have a passport. So one country divided into two parts. So that brought a lot of division politically. And in addition to that, a president by the name of Boyer in 1820 said, listen, we're tired of this division, and he brought Haiti back together again. So both the North and the South, they were basically reunited. But at the end of the day, it would have caused a lot of different problems in Haiti because you had two governments on the same territory. Then another political effect of Haiti is that from Toussaint Louverture, Dessalines, most of their political leaders were assassinated. They were killed. Right? So if every minute you are killing your political leader, what would be the negative effect of that? You're killing every
Sir,
minute.
would it be under the social one?
So it could link to social, but this is so we're talking about assassination of the presidents. All the leaders were most of their leaders were assassinated. If you are killing your leaders every minute, say for instance, God forbid, Andrew Owens is prime minister, somebody kill him. Then the next person become prime minister, somebody kill him. And then somebody else become prime minister and somebody kill him. What you think would happen to the country? Let
Sir,
us
I
say
think it would be destroyed.
it will be
Yeah.
destroyed, but I want you to explain more. I'm going to use another example. Wait 1 second. I am your teacher. This month you change teacher. Next month you have a new teacher, and the next month a new teacher. What would happen?
So it'd be all over the place, sir, and it
And it would just be confusing.
It
would
would be a lot of confusion. There would be no direction, right? And that would be the very same thing that happened. The country had no leader to put forward their plans and to execute their plans, because as one leader is in office, then that person get assassinated. And they always assassinate their leaders. And so as a result of that, in fact, one of their president, Boyer, he fled to Jamaica to avoid assassination. And even until today in Haiti, they are still assassinating their leaders. Negative, right? So these were actually two negative effects of the Haitian Revolution. And now we're going to look at some of the economic effects. And one of the biggest one was that negative was that France said to Haiti that you need to pay France for the loss of their slaves, property, and wealth. So you destroy all what we had in Haiti. This is no France talking. You destroyed or you free yourself. You were our property. You destroyed great houses or property. You took over our plantations or property. You need to pay us. And so France, from 1820 until 2015, which is just about 6 years ago, Haiti had to pay France for their freedom. They had to send money to them for their freedom. How would that affect Haiti negatively?
So they wouldn't have enough money to do what they need to do because of the pain for freedom, which I find that really unfair.
Very unfair. That even up until 2015, they were still paying France for their freedom. Reparation, France said that you owe us money. And so as a result of that, you are very correct. The money that France, and it's not small change in terms of little money, it was a lot of money. So the money that France, that Haiti should be taken to build roads and to build schools and to build hospitals and to build churches and to build airports and to buy books and all of these different stuff. They had to take that money to pay France. And that's one of the reasons why Haiti today is a very poor country, because France forced them, France forced Haiti to pay reparation. And so you're correct, Parkinson. They were not economically stable. They can't be stable because all the money that you're getting, you had to be paying France that money. Not only that, places like France, the United States, Jamaica, and other Caribbean countries, they placed a trade embargo on Haiti. What do we mean by a trade embargo or a trade block? What do we mean by a trade embargo or a trade block?
They stopped trading with
Sir, they
Haiti.
weren't allowed to trade with Haiti.
So one, they were not allowed to trade with Haiti. Yes, someone else said something earlier. Go ahead for me.
I said that they stopped them from trading.
So they stopped them from trading. So thank you very much, Webber and Parkinson. So they stopped them from trading. Now, can a country, there was, when I was going to primary school, they had a poem that they said, no, they said, no
No man is
island,
an island.
no man is an island, no man stands alone. But in this case, this trade embargo or this block on Haiti caused Haiti to stand alone. What are some of the negative effects of the trade embargo?
Sir, can I try?
Go ahead.
Is one of them because they can't trade with anyone, they can't get like enough crops or stuff, you know? Or the currency, like they won't get much money from it because you know sometimes they would trade for money and they would be low on money or probably low on goods. I don't know.
Very good, you're correct. So food items that Haiti need for their survival, they could not get it from the other countries because the countries refused to trade with them. And all the crops that they are growing in Haiti, the sugar, the coffee, the cocoa, the yam, they had nobody to sell it to. They couldn't sell the goods to France. They couldn't sell it to the United States. They could not sell to Jamaica. In fact, the United States before the Haitian Revolution was one of their largest trading partners. The United States is where they send most of their goods to get money. And if the United States and France they are saying that we are not trading with you, we are not trading with any black country with a black president, we are not trading. And even if you consider yourself colored, even if you're mixed, you are still black. One drop of black blood makes you black. We are not trading with anybody. So even if you put the colored person there as president, we are not trading with Haiti. And so that had negative effect on Haiti. And then we mentioned also that as a result of the war, what is going to take place is that you're going to have a production decline. And so if your production decline, goods that you're producing decline because most of your workers died. Not most of, some of your workers died. And also you're going to have negative effect when it comes to export. Export is when you sell other countries' goods. You send other countries' goods. So one, your export is going to be reduced because one, there's a trade block, and two, you're not producing enough goods because you don't have enough workers. So that also led to the export declining. In fact, students, another economic effect was that a lot of plantations were destroyed. Over 1,200 coffee estates were destroyed, and also over 200 sugar plantations were destroyed. That's a lot of uh, of, of places that were responsible for Haiti being on top economically. Right? So what we have now is Haiti, as a result of the revolution, they suffered socially, they suffered politically, because that led to division between the colors and the blacks, that they even had to have passport to go from the north to the south. They also killed their leaders, so nobody is there to continue their plans. And then economically, their production declined, their export declined, their plantations were destroyed. They got trade embargo on them from France and the US. They also had to pay France a lot of money in reparation. And so, if you look at the Haitian Revolution, there were some serious negative effects. Negative. All right, ladies. Any question, any comments?
Sir, I have a question, but it's not really related to this. Sir, is there a Jamaica revolution? You know?
Jamaica don't have a revolution, but Jamaica had several different riots that happened. So we had the slave revolt. We had a slave revolt like Haiti that was called the Christmas Rebellion or the Sam Sharp Rebellion or the Jamaica Slave Revolt that happened in 1831. And then in addition to that, Jamaica had the Moran Bay Rebellion, where Paul Bogle went and burned down the courthouse because he didn't like how the whites treated him in Jamaica. And they hung him and George Williams Gordon. And then also in the 1930s, Jamaica had also another revolt where they didn't like the fact how Britain was governing the colony, Jamaica. And that's one of the reasons that that revolt led them to independence. But they didn't have a wide-scale revolt like Haiti. And Haiti was successful. In fact, Haiti was the only successful slave revolt because it was the only slave revolt that immediately brought an end to slavery and gave them full independence. All right? Anyone else? Anyone else? So ladies, when we return on Friday, I'm going to look at some of the positive effects of the Haitian Revolution. All right? It's always nice teaching this group. So we'll meet again on Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Stop by Devanos and get some ice cream.
Sir, I don't think some of us are evening around to
Bye,
leave the house.
sir.
Bye-bye. Go ahead and get some ice cream by Devanos, or go and get KFC, or they have a special
No one
by
is going to stand in the line for that long, so it's a Friday.
All right. But try and get the ice cream. It's not, the ice cream is not the line is not long.
It will take some convincing.
Tell your parents to treat you with some ice cream. You have been very good girls today. All right. Enjoy the
Yes.
weekend. Enjoy the weekend, ladies. And my birthday.
Bye, sir. Enjoy your weekend.
Bye, sir. You too.
Thank you, sir. Same to
Sir,
you.
it's your
Sir,
birthday?
when is your birthday?
Sir, it's your birthday?
On Sunday. On Sunday.
Oh,
Happy early birthday, sir. Happy birthday when it comes.
Sir.
Happy birthday when it
comes, sir.
Enjoy it. You get yourself ice cream and KFC and cake.
Yes, will do. Will do. All right, ladies. Bye-bye.
bye, sir.
Bye, sir.